So on the first part of your homework, 8, 9, and 10, you should have been able to combine those easily because we learned yesterday that you can combine radicals that have the same radicand. So all of these have 3, right? That means you can do 3 plus 9 minus 4. So what's 3 plus 9? And what's 12 minus 4? So you should have 8 root 3. Did anybody get that right? Hey, 3 people, 4, 5 people, 6 people. That's, a quarter of the class. Alright, for number 9, let's come back to 9. Let's do 10. Do all of these have the same radicand? Do all of them have the same index? Alright, what's 3 plus 10?
13.
And what's 13 minus 2? 11. So it should be 11 cubed root 5. Now, why do we not combine what's under the radical? Because you only combine that when you what? Multiply. For you guys wanting to do points, y'all are sure not doing a great job of answering. Alright, and number 9. Number 9, do we have any of the radicands the same? No, we don't. So first, let's look at the middle one. What is the square root of 36? And what's 6 times 3? Okay, so we should have 5 root 5 plus 18. Now let's break down 80. What's the biggest perfect square that goes into 80? Don't say 8. It's not a perfect square. Look at the orange list. What's the biggest perfect square that goes into 80?
16.
Okay, 16 times what? 16 times 5? Alright, what's the square root of 16? And what's 4 times this 2 right here? So we should have plus 8 root 5. Now that we're at this point, do we have anything that we can combine? What?
The 5.
The 5 root 5 and the 8 root 5. So what's 5 plus 8? So it's 13 root 5 plus 18 is your final answer. Anybody have any questions on those? Did anybody get all 3 right? Did anybody get 2 out of 3 right? Hey, that's better than nothing. Alright, I also circled 15 through 19, and we haven't done the multiplying ones. So, well, we've done one like this, but we haven't done these 2, so you shouldn't have done that. We can do 17. What's the square root of 64?
8.
And 2 goes into 4 how many times? So you would have 8x squared as your final answer. Did anybody get that? Hey, 1 person out of 24. 2 people. That's a 12th of the class. That's exciting. Yeah, we can do 19. So 19, since it's the square root of the whole thing, what would you do first? Split it into the square root of x divided by the square root of y to the 4th. Can you take the square root of x? So it's the square root of x divided by, how many times does 2 go into 4? So y squared. And that's your final answer for that one. No. Because we're sitting there talking while I'm teaching, and I'm about to stop teaching and then make you do your study guide without knowing how to do half of it. Because I don't have to stand up here and waste my time while y'all talk. So no, we're not getting points. Alright, we can also do, now outside of homework, we can also do number 30, right? Do they have the same radicand? What's 3 plus 4? So the answer is 7 root 5. What's another one that we can do from this side of the paper?
25.
So 36, 25. What's another one?
24.
35, 24, 32, 33, 31. What'd you say? 22. Perfect. All right, what about 20? Can we do 20? We can do, all right, can we do 37? We could do 37. We know how to subtract. Alright, so these are the ones that I have circled that we're going to work on, that you're going to work on right now. Come on, Mr. Thingy. Alright, so circled, I have 20, 22, 24, 25, 31, 32, 33, 35, 36, 37. We can actually do more than that, but that's what you guys think we can do right now. So do those. First, let's do 35 together. 35 is already split apart because 4 does not have a radical over it. So we can't reduce 4 and 20. Can anybody tell me what they think we would do to simplify this? We would what? I really can't understand what y'all are saying. I'm not going to lie.
Divide.
We have divide and simplify, and neither of those are quite the answer I'm looking for. Multiply by what? The denominator. The denominator. But I like that you remember conjugate. Good job. Alright, so we would multiply by the square root of 20. Trey. Alright, and that would, I'm sorry, are you not entertained?
Yeah. But he said that,
Its own gladiator. Alright, so it's rude to yawn like that. That's why I said it. Alright, square root of 20 times the square root of 20 is 20. Now, can this 20 break down?
yes.
What's the biggest perfect square that goes into 20? Oh my gosh, we should know that faster. 5 is not a perfect square. It's 4 and 5. What's the square root of 4? What's 2 times 4? What stays in the house?
The 5.
Is it 20? Is it 4? Or is it 5?
It's 5.
It's 5 because that's the one left alone. And then we divide it by 20. Now can 8 20ths reduce? What goes into both 8 and 20? Alright, 8 divided by 4 is 2. And 20 divided by 4 is? Yay. Alright, try number 33 next without me. Okay, I think now everybody's here who's going to be here. Alright, talk less, work more. Is anybody done with 33? You are? What? Are you sure? I don't know if you are. I don't feel confident in this answer. What do you have to multiply 33 by? And what's the, not the conjugate, that's only when you have a plus or minus. What's the denominator of 33? So you have to rationalize. Are you serious? You multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2.
Whoa, that was...
Man, I don't know how I did that.
I got 6.
You shouldn't have 6 anything. You multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2. You can't multiply 3 and 2 together because 3 is not under the radical. So it's 3 root 2. Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? 4 days of us doing it and you didn't know that? Do I need to make you stand on your head and do jumping jacks so you wake up?
Just we can't stand on it. My head is too uneven.
I did not miss you.
I do.
It
Thank you,
makes me feel
son.
better. I didn't miss you.
Good.
I'm just
Alright, you should be working through these that we circled. You should be working through these.
Hey, you need help.
Which one?
Like past the ones that are like 1 through 3, I don't really understand. I mean, I got the last one right, but I got 33 right, but I wouldn't have if we didn't work out with it.
So you have to multiply by the denominator. You have to rationalize it. Which means you're trying to get rid of this radical. The way you get rid of that is multiplying the bottom by itself. Multiply the top and bottom by the denominator. Because the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. And what's the square root of 4? So then you multiply 3 times the square root of 2. Since this is not under the radical, you can't multiply those two numbers together, so it's just 3 root 2.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you lying?
No, like, the ones that are like 33 and 35, like, kind of make sense. but-
Alright, what about 32? How do you feel about 32?
I don't know how to do that.
You multiply. So since they're both under the radical, you multiply 5 times 20.
And then you just solve it like you do, like, number 1.
Yeah, so what's 5 times 20?
100.
Alright, and then what's the square root of 100?
25.
What's the square root of 100?
Is it 25?
What's the square root of 100?
I don't. 10. 10.
That's your answer.
Oh.
I'm
sorry. I hate it when teachers like ask me like questions like that. Like it's
To make you
it's like-
think? I'm
he's
so
like, what's
sorry.
1 plus 1, Josh? And I'm like,
I'm not saying it in an angry tone.
I know.
Maybe
but,
you're
like,
just taking it that way.
It's not an angry
Maybe
tone,
you're
but
being
it's
too
just, like,
sensitive. Number 20? Ooh, number 20 is a great one. Number 20 you break apart into two radicals. So anytime you can't reduce the fraction, remember our first step is to break it apart. So it becomes the square root of 50 divided by the square root of z to the 5th. Now, you can do this two ways. I prefer on this one, normally we would just rationalize by multiplying by the denominator. But because we have an exponent in here, I personally would break down your radicals first. So I would break down 50 into 25 and 2, right? Because 25 is the biggest perfect square that goes into 50. And then what's the square root of 25? So you have 5 root 2 divided by. Alright, now I would break this one down. 2, because that's our index, goes into 5 how many times? 2 times, so it's z squared with how many left over? 1 z left over. And then from here, I would rationalize. So what would you have to multiply the top and bottom by to get rid of this radical? The square root of z. So I would multiply the top and bottom by the square root of z, just like this. Now, does everybody see how I got to this point before I go any further? To the orange part. Are you sure? Those that are paying attention?
Okay, so you have to first like put them in square root on top and the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
This z right here? So I'm rationalizing. I'm multiplying the top and bottom by the square root of z to get rid of that. It's the same thing that we did. Where's my problem? Right here. When we multiplied by the square root of 27 to get rid of that. You're still doing the same thing, it's just with a letter. So don't let that throw you off. Now from here, what's the square root of z times the square root of z? It's z. No, it's z. And then you have z squared times z, which is what? Z cubed. Now, can we multiply this 5 times the 2? Can we multiply the 5 times the z? No. So we're just going to have 5. Can we multiply the 2 and the z?
Yeah.
So it's the square root of 2z. Now that one is more complicated than what I would normally give you, just with that variable on the bottom. I don't care. You weren't paying attention half the time I was doing it. Why do you argue with me when you know I'm right? I'm over here listening to y'all talk the whole time. Alright, number 22. What's the square root of 144?
12.
And with your x squared, what's the square root of x squared? X.
That was easy.
Alright, now do 24 and 25 without me. Yes. Which one?
Like the ones, because I was taking.
Over here? So we got 8 root 3 right here because we did 3 plus 9 and then we subtracted 4. You got that? Awesome. And then for this one, I'm going to rewrite that one so you can see it better. For this one, I did 3 plus 10 and I got 13 minus 2 gave me 11. Now this one, you would take the square root of 36 and you'd get 6 and then 6 times 3 gave us 18. Then from here, I would break up my 80 into 16 and 5. The square root of 16 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So then I can combine these two because they both have the square root of 5. So then I get 13 root 5 plus 18. Are y'all done with 24 and 25?
Yeah. Oh yeah, first.
You break these apart because it's a radical of the whole thing, so you break them up, and then you take the square root of y to the 4th, and you get y squared. Are you ready? Alright, what y'all get for 24? Besides 9p what? 9q cubed? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Was that 3?
Yes, because 2 goes into 6 3 times.
2 goes into 6 3 times.
This is a 6.
Oh.
See how it doesn't look like a 4?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did 5. But I get it.
Say it to me again, Chastity, before I throw something at Miriam. Alright, what's the biggest perfect square that goes into 75? Did y'all get 25 and 3? Alright, and then that gives you 5, and then 2 goes into 18 how many times? Root 3? How do I know what? How do I know which one stays inside?
No, like, the number will add up to that.
Because I can multiply 25 times 3 and get 75. And that's the biggest perfect square that goes into it. So you divide your perfect squares. You just take 75 and you divide it by your perfect squares.
You divide it by these right here, divided by this.
No, you divide it by the perfect squares, which is the ones you have a box around. Alright, if y'all are going to sit over there and talk, I'm kicking you out. Okay, we're still trying to have class, and I'm not doing it. So if you talk one more time, you're out. Does everybody over there understand? I don't want you to talk back to me. I just want you to say, yes, Miss Asbury, I understand. Fantastic. You should be doing your notebook check anyway. Number 31. Did you guys just do 6 minus 2? Or are y'all not done with that one yet? You are done? Did you get 4 root 3? Alright. And then what about 36? What'd you get? Okay, first, did you break down 27?
I got 7.
Okay, we're trying to add these together, right? So you would start... Did I say divide? I can't. Kill that one. Kill that one. For now. Because I want to rewrite it on the back of the paper. Alright, 37. Is everybody done with that one? Did we break 125 down?
Yes.
Besides Curtis? Or do we need another minute? Oh, I love silence. Thank you so much. Alright, so 25 and 5. And then you get 7 root 5 minus 5 root 5. And that gives you 2 root 5. Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
Now, where did this 5 right here come from?
The 5 that was left over.
No. Where did this 5 that I'm pointing at right here come from? That's the square root of 25. As we're stuttering our way through this, that's the square root of 25 is this 5. Where did this 5 come from? The leftover one. And then 7 minus 5 gives us? Now, why can we combine these? What's the same? The square root, the number under the radical is the same. Alright, let's rewrite 36 on the back. The square root of 3 divided by the square root of 27. Because I need room to do this one. That's how this one is written, right? And that's the same as writing the square root of 3 divided by the square root of 27. That's why we're rewriting it. Are you using someone else's notebook to do your notebook test? Are you sure? Are you lying to me? So you're using someone else's notebook to do your notebook test. But you're using their learning targets. That's what the notebook test is. So whoever's notebook you're using, they need to take it back right now or they're also going to get a 0 on that test. Alright, so you would multiply the top and bottom by what? Or could you reduce this first? You could reduce it. What goes into both 3 and 27? 3 divided by 3 is? 27 divided by 3 is? Alright, what's the square root of 1? What's the square root of 9? Boom, that's all you have to do. Isn't it magic?
You don't have to have a square root thing.
No, because we took the square root of it. Alright, let's go back and look at our notes from yesterday at example 2. Does everybody have this sheet? It would be just so lovely if you came to school on a consistent basis.
She was here saying.
Alright, so yesterday what we wrote down, let me zoom out so we can see. We wrote down that you can only add or subtract when the expressions have the same radicals. So yesterday we only talked about adding and subtracting. Today we're going to do adding and subtracting and multiplying. When they have the same radicands. So that's why, I'm sorry? Sure. Alright, so that's why we were able to add 5, 7, and subtract 6 right here, because the square root of 2 is all the same. So we did 5 plus 7 and we got 12. 12 minus 6 gave us 6. You need to take only your notebook. Alright, then for B, we combined the ones that are the same. So we said 15 minus 11 and we got 4. And then negative 14 plus 6 and got negative 8. Does everybody remember doing that yesterday? Fantastic. Then for example 2, what did we have to do different over here on example 2? We had to simplify, we had to break them down. We had to break both of these down because 18 and 32 are not the same. And we got 6 root 2. Where did the 6 come from? The square root of 9 is times 2 gave us 6. Yep. And where did 8 come from? Hallelujah. All right, and what's 6 plus 8? All right, do this one without me. Do B. Did you simplify those? Okay. First, the square root of 12 breaks down into 4 and 3, right?
Yes.
So all you need to do one more step. And then 48 breaks down into 16 and 3, right?
Yes.
So then that gives you 8 root 3 minus 24 root 3. So, White Justin, you got to here, right? And then you just needed to subtract those. So 8 minus 24 is negative 16. Who got to the negative 16 point? Hey, one person. Exciting. So the rest of us, what are we confused on? You understand now? You just didn't break down that one? Anybody else? So we don't know where we're confused, or we're not confused, or what's happening?
I'm confused, but I don't know why.
Do you want me to walk through it again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the first thing I did was I broke down 12 into 4 and 3. And then I broke down 48 into 16 and 3.
Yes, I have a question. How come it has 3 fourths, or why can't it be like 6 there?
Because it has to be a perfect square. For the love of all things holy, child, that's what we've been doing for like ever.
I don't.
Do you have your note card with your perfect squares?
I'll leave it Tuesday. I'm kidding.
Okay. All right, what? Chastity?
I didn't.
What?
I put 6 and 3.
It's not a perfect square. It has to be perfect squares. All right, so then we took the square root of 4 and we got 2. So 2 times 4 gave us 8, and then this 3 is left over. Does everybody understand where that came from? All right, then we took the square root of 16 and we got 4. 4 times 6 gave me 24. And so we got 24 square root of 3. And then we subtracted and we got negative 16.
That really makes sense.
Does anybody else see where they made a mistake? Do we need to do one more? Yes, one more? Okay. Let's turn this over. And I'm going to call this example 2C. And I don't want to mess the problem up, so let me get out the textbook. Ooh, didn't mean to fling that. Alright, y'all want to do one that we have to simplify? Is that what we need to do? Yes, okay. I love it when we answer. What?
Well, I think this one might just like,
So one where we have to
I
simplify?
don't know what we were.
Yeah,
Simplifying.
Okay, that was simplifying.
Yes.
You're on.
I know, man.
Is it how to different another example?
75,453.
Oh my gosh.
So example 1 was ones where you didn't have to simplify. It was already in simplest radical form. Example 2 is ones that you do have to simplify. So now simplify this. Alright, so I can break this down into 9 and 6, and then I can break this down into 4 and 6, right?
I got 8 and 3.
Baby, you have to use perfect squares.
Oh, I thought I did.
For the love of all things holy, 8 is not a perfect square. The square root of 9 is, and then 3 times 4 is. Alright, and then the square root of 4 is, and 2 times 2 is. And now can we combine? We can. 12 plus 4 is. Okay, we need to do another one. You understand now? Okay, we're doing another one. Yes. Say it to me again. What? Right here? The square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Yes. I'm not surprised. They came from my list of perfect squares.
Oh, I know those.
Clearly not. You picked 8.
It was a
No,
mistake. Yes,
no,
it was. I
no,
got the first one.
no. It is premeditated murder on my soul. That's what it was. So you take these numbers, okay, this list, and I'm going to take 54, and I'm going to be like, maybe 16 can go into 54. And I'm going to say 54, does 16 go into you? And then I'm going to get the answer of no. Then I'm going to move this way, and I'm going to say, hey, 54, does 9 go into you? Yep, it does, 6 times. So I write 9 and 6. Man, oh man, look at that magic. Do you see what I did? Then I go over here, and I say, hey, 24, what perfect square goes into you? 4. 4 goes into you 6 times. So I'm going to write down 4 and 6. And then I'm going to say, hey, perfect square, what's the square root of you? And I'm going to get 3. And then I'm going to say, hey, 3 times 4 is 12.
Well, how come you don't get the perfect square 4?
I'm not done. I was just showing you this side.
She's stressing. She just got out of her relationship.
She's not stressing. She's happy. It's the happiest I've been all year. Then you take the square root of 4 and you get 2. 2 times 2 is 4.
Well, you got 8 more days than me.
Oh my
I got some.
Alright, now, number D. Please do this one.
That's not
It is today.
Okay, thank you, Sandra.
No.
Much better.
No.
No, yeah, I know.
It's over.
Oh, there's 2 more.
Alright, so did you guys get 9 and 5 right here? And then you took the square root of 9 and you got 3. And 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? Then you take the square root of 4 and you got 2. And then 49 and 5, you take the square root of that and you got 7. And then 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. Yay! Did anybody else get
I
that?
got it.
Hey, good job! That's much better. Do we need to do one more? One more.
Still copying.
Uno más, and then we're moving on.
The boy is sore.
Quiet, Justin.
Which one?
The black one. Wow. That was recording.
It is. Alright, please work out E as in Eotato.